Subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. I'd mastered the art of ignoring Marcus's voice ages ago. It was basically a way to endure, much like adapting to doze off despite a nearby dog's constant yapping. This evening, during his outrageously costly wedding party, I had abundant chances to refine that ability. Sarah excels with children but struggles with math, he proclaimed to a group of his Goldman Sachs coworkers by the bar. His tone echoed through the grand hall with the kind of assurance that stems from a few whiskeys and an attentive crowd. She's always been the artistic sort, you see. Couldn't manage a bank account if her life depended on it. I took a sip of my bubbly and fixed the shoulder strap on my maid of honor gown. The unflattering peach shade that his bride-to-be Emma had picked deliberately to make me look pale. Minor triumphs for her, I guessed. Marcus had forever been the favored sibling. Earned his Wharton business degree at 26, became a VP at 29. At 33 now, he was tying the knot with Emma Whitmore, whose dad held seats on numerous Manhattan corporate boards. The event's price tag exceeded what most folks pay for a home, $140,000, based on Emma's vocal gripes about maintaining its coziness. I was 31, residing in a simple flat in Brooklyn, employed as an independent visual artist. At least that's what my relatives thought. That's what I allowed them to think. Recall when she attempted that small online store on Etsy? My mom was telling Emma's mom close to the main table. She hemorrhaged cash on delivery fees for months until Marcus stepped in to teach her fundamental commerce principles. God love her, but she's simply not built for money matters. Emma's mom uttered a compassionate sound. Well, not everybody can match Marcus. The aspect of being undervalued throughout your existence is that you master the art of operating discreetly. As Marcus constructed his professional path at Goldman Sachs, schmoozing prominently and obviously, I was engaged in something totally different. A decade back, following my degree in visual design, I began putting money into ventures modestly at the outset, $1,500 in one spot, $1,000 in another. I possessed a talent for identifying overlooked firms, especially in technology. In 3 years, my holdings expanded to $2 million. By the 5th year, $15 million. By year 8, $94 million. I maintained secrecy, channeling funds via a family fund I established using my grandma's original surname, Blackwell Capital Management. My relatives never pieced it together. Why should they? I was imaginative Sarah, the creative soul, the one who required Marcus to clarify compound growth during holiday meals while all offered pitying nods. Half a year prior, Marcus launched his own investment outfit, Hartley Investment Group. He'd gathered $200 million from backers, including Emma's dad and a number of his old Goldman associates. The enterprise was his greatest achievement, his opportunity to escape the company ladder and create his own legacy. What Marcus remained unaware of, what no one knew, was that Blackwell Capital Management held 81% of Hartley Investment Group's decision-making stock. I'd committed $162 million via various dummy entities and fund setups. Marcus believed his capital originated from a group of overseas backers and some unnamed U.S. family funds. He had zero clue that his younger sibling, the money moron, dominated his whole operation. Sarah, Emma's call pierced my reverie. She was signaling me to join at the primary table, her grin strained. We're ready for pictures with the bridal party. I placed my drink aside and headed there, walking past Marcus, who was now entertaining Emma's dad and multiple directors from different firms. The secret to thriving in risk capital, Marcus was elaborating with the poise of a newcomer 6 months in, is discerning when to favor your gut over statistics. Occasionally, you must take daring steps. Emma's dad bobbed his head in agreement. That's the Marcus I'm familiar with. Bold, resolute. Unlike certain folks, Marcus quipped with a chuckle, eyeing my way. Sarah once inquired if equities and debt instruments were identical. Picture that? The assembly broke into courteous chuckles. I grinned and continued onward. The cameraman positioned us on the majestic steps. Emma at the core, her 5 attendants surrounding her like guards in soft hues. I ended up at the distant side, somewhat obscured by a stone pillar. Even in snapshots, I was a marginal note. Sarah, attempt a genuine smile, the cameraman instructed. You appear as if you're at a burial. Additional giggles from the kin observing. Following the shots, I withdrew to a serene nook by the balcony entrances. The gathering was at its peak. A performing ensemble delivering classic tunes, attendees swaying on the stone surface, bubbly pouring endlessly. All that Marcus handled became prosperous. Or that's how the family story unfolded. My device vibrated. A message from my true associate, Jennifer Chin, a deals lawyer I'd encountered 5 years earlier. Jennifer, the director's session shifted to Monday. 10 a.m. chair has verified presence. Every paper is prepared. I responded, excellent. Thanks. Marcus's outfit had been losing funds for 3 months. His audacious actions and preference for intuition over facts had led to 7 flops, amounting to $47 million in deficits. The directors, the actual ones, the group I'd meticulously put together via Blackwell Capital, had grown more uneasy. As the primary owner, I'd gotten thorough updates. Marcus was deciding without adequate review, pursuing glitzy tech ventures with charming creators and zero sustainable strategies. He treated the enterprise like his private sandbox. Certain his banking background rendered him flawless. The prior week, he suggested committing $30 million to a digital currency extraction setup managed by a 24-year-old quitter with a phony university credential. The directors rejected it 6-1. Marcus had raged, dispatching irate messages about outdated mindsets and fear of risk-stifling progress. He lacked knowledge of who truly swayed those decisions. There's my kid, sis. Marcus emerged next to me a bit wobbly. He'd slackened his neckwear, his cheeks red from booze and spotlight. Why are you lurking in the shadows? This is a celebration. Just catching my breath, I replied. Stunning ceremony, Marcus. Well done. Yeah. Emma truly excelled in organizing it. He surveyed the gathering with contentment. This is merely the start, you realize. Hartley Investment Group is poised for some significant actions. I'm negotiating with 3 key retirement pools currently. Might secure $500 million more in assets by second quarter. That's wonderful, I responded evenly. You ought to allow me to handle some funds for you, he went on, twirling his scotch. I realize you're not flush, but even a couple grand wisely placed could expand nicely. I could show you the fundamentals. Heaven knows you could use the assistance. I value the proposal. I'm earnest, Sarah. You can't survive paycheck to paycheck forever on minor creative gigs. You must consider savings, accumulating assets. It's never too late to grasp, even if money isn't your forte. A server went by with flutes of bubbly. Marcus snagged 2, passing one to me. To Ken, he declared, lifting his. And to at last grasping how reality functions. I tapped my flute to his. To grasping, I concurred. My device hummed once more. Now an incoming call. I checked the display. Richard Blackwell, director's head. Richard Blackwell wasn't genuinely kin to me. He was an ex-JP Morgan leader I'd enlisted to lead the Hartley Investment Group directors. The last name helped preserve my disguise. He only rang for urgent matters. Pardon me, I must answer this, I stated. Marcus dismissed me, already pivoting to his visitors. I moved to the balcony. The crisp fall breeze, a welcome change from the oppressive hall. Richard, Miss Hartley, his tone was serious. Sorry to interrupt your siblings' nuptials, but there's an issue. Marcus recently emailed every backer, declaring he's proceeding with the digital currency extraction funding. He's asserting directors' consent and states the agreement finalizes Monday a.m. $30 million transfer. My gut clenched. He's fabricating the director's consent. I know. I've fielded calls from 3 worried directors already. This is deceit, Miss Hartley. He's falsifying directors' choices to backers. If those funds move, we face possible legal blame for the whole outfit. I observed via the transparent panels as Marcus chuckled with Emma's dad, utterly clueless. Has he consumed alcohol this evening? Richard inquired. Yes, that could account for the impulsiveness, but it doesn't justify it. As chief owner, you must choose. We can oust him as head immediately or delay till Monday and chance him carrying out this deceptive transaction. Through the panels, I spotted my mom displaying nuptial images to Ken. Marcus, the focus of each shot. My dad had his limb around Marcus's back, radiating pride at his offspring, the money wizard. Arrange an urgent director's session for tomorrow a.m. I murmured. 9 a.m. I'll attend personally. You're certain? That will expose. I'm certain. Alert every director and attorneys. Marcus must attend as well. He'll demand to know who summoned it. Inform him accurately. Tell him the chief owner requested it. Let him pass this evening pondering who that is. Richard paused briefly. I'll dispatch the alerts shortly. Until tomorrow, Miss Hartley. I concluded the conversation and lingered on the balcony, gazing at the New York horizon. The metropolis sparkled like dispersed gems, lovely and detached. Inside, the musicians performed The Way You Look Tonight. Marcus twirled Emma beneath his limb as attendees clapped. He met my gaze and beamed, gesturing at me with his unoccupied hand, as if I shared the humor, as if we all rejoiced in his triumph collectively. I lifted my bubbly flute back. My device vibrated with Richard's message. Urgent Directors Session. Sunday, October 15th, 9 a.m. Hartley Investment Group premises. Summoned by Chief Owner, Blackwell Capital Management. Mandatory presence. All directors, company. Marcus Hartley, legal team. I observed as Marcus's device hummed in his coat. He disregarded it, immersed in the instant with his fresh spouse. It hummed repeatedly. At last, he retrieved it, his grin vanishing as he scanned the display. He halted, swaying, making Emma trip a bit. She uttered something to him, worried, but he ignored her. He fixated on his device as if it had deceived him. He scanned the hall frantically. Then his gaze located me on the balcony. Even via the panels, I noted the bewilderment on his expression. Who the heck is Blackwell Capital? He lipped. I just beamed and elevated my flute once more. Marcus disentangled from Emma and marched to the balcony entrances, flinging them wide. What in the world is this? He shoved his device toward me. Urgent director's session tomorrow a.m. amid my post-wedding getaway. Who does Blackwell Capital believe they are? I don't know, Marcus. What does the message indicate? It claims they possess 81% of Decision shares. His volume increased, attracting notice from adjacent visitors. That's not possible. I recognize each significant backer in my enterprise. Perhaps you don't recognize them as thoroughly as you assume. This is absurd. I'm contacting Richard immediately. He began pressing keys, but I extended and softly lowered his device. Marcus, it's your marriage evening. Don't you believe this can hold until tomorrow? Hold? Sarah, this is my enterprise. Some enigmatic owner can't simply summon urgent sessions and require my appearance. He raked his fingers through his locks, upset. This is likely one of the overseas backers hesitating on the crypto transaction. I'll resolve it tomorrow, but the scheduling is completely improper. Emma materialized at his side. Marcus, what's the matter? Folks are questioning why you cease swaying. Job issues, he grumbled. Nothing beyond my control on our marriage evening. Emma's tone chilled. Seriously, it's merely a session tomorrow a.m. I'll manage it fast, and then we'll depart for the Maldives as intended. You're meant to be on our post-wedding trip. I realize, darling, but this matters. Some backer is flexing, likely attempting to halt my crypto transaction. I simply need to reaffirm who truly manages the enterprise. I savored my bubbly, remaining silent. Marcus pivoted to me. You aren't familiar with Blackwell Capital, are you? They're not among your creative Brooklyn pals aiming to fund, or such. I scarcely have sufficient for housing, recall? How would I be aware of big backers? He assented, content with this reasoning. Correct. Apologies. I'm upset. This is intended to be the most joyful day of my existence, and now I must handle director disputes. Perhaps they hold valid worries, I proposed cautiously. Regarding what? I've executed 7 funds, so not all have yielded right away. That's the nature of risk capital. You embrace chances, you gain insights, you adapt. But these traditional directors fail to grasp that you must rely on your gut. Perhaps gut isn't sufficient. He chuckled, the condescending noise I'd endured forever. Sarah, no disrespect, but you don't truly comprehend advanced money matters. These are intricate choices needing decades of practice and a refined grasp of market forces. Naturally, I stated, what do I understand about funds? Precisely. He appeared comforted that I knew my position. See, I care for you, sibling, but we exist in separate realms. You handle your creative pursuits. I manage the money pursuits. That's simply our makeup. Emma pulled his limb. Marcus, can we kindly return to our nuptials? Yes, you're correct. He stowed his device and adjusted his coat. Tomorrow AM, I'll fix this, remind all who the head is, and then we'll board a flight to bliss. Straightforward. They returned to the hall, Marcus's limb encircling Emma's middle. Soon he was swaying again, chuckling with visitors, the image of assurance. I remained on the balcony till the party concluded, observing my sibling revel in his flawless existence, while his flawless enterprise eroded under him like grains. Sunday dawn came chilly and overcast. I positioned myself outside the Hartley Investment Group premises at 8:45 a.m. clad in a gray professional outfit I'd acquired just for this event. My leather case held comprehensive money summaries, legal papers, and a decade of funding logs. The structure was strangely hushed on a Sunday. Richard greeted me in the entrance area. Miss Hartley. He offered his palm. The remaining directors are upstairs already. Marcus showed up 10 minutes past. He's restless. I expect he is. We ascended the lift to the 23rd level quietly. Via the transparent barriers of the meeting space, I saw 6 directors seated at the board. Leaders from assorted funding entities, all handpicked by me through Blackwell Capital, all dedicated to the chief owner, not to Marcus. Marcus positioned at the table's front, his rear to the entry. Even from aft, I sensed the strain in his posture. He wore his post-wedding attire, denim and a casual top, evidently direct from his lodging. Richard unlocked the meeting space entry. Marcus whirled. At last. Richard, what the devil is? He halted abruptly upon spotting me trailing Richard. Sarah, why are you present? Miss Hartley is here by my request, Richard stated composedly. Your request? Richard, I value that you're attempting to involve kin, but this is a grave commerce gathering. Sarah doesn't comprehend. Kindly, all take seats. Richard cut in, motioning to the seats. I settled at the table's far end from Marcus. The directors observed with measured looks, already informed on the impending reveal. Marcus stayed upright. Anyone care to explain what this concerns? I received your message stating Blackwell Capital holds 81% of my enterprise's decision shares. That's not feasible. I personally obtained each major backer. I know precisely who holds stakes in this outfit. Do you? I queried softly. He regarded me annoyed. Sarah, I realize you're aiming to help, but the grown-ups need to discuss commerce now. Perhaps Richard can summon you a ride. Take a seat, Marcus, Richard commanded, his manner allowing no debate. Something in Richard's delivery made Marcus hesitate. He surveyed the table at the directors, none gazing back. Gradually, he lowered into his seat. Marcus, Richard started, what do you understand about Blackwell Capital Management? They're a kin fund or alliance that committed $162 million to Hartley Investment Group in our funding phases. Europe located, I assumed, nameless backers desiring an active participation. Wrong, Richard declared. Blackwell Capital Management is a confidential funding entity in New York. It's functioned for a decade, overseeing holdings now worth about $340 million. The main backer and only decider is at this table. Marcus's gaze flitted about the area. Which of you? Me, I stated. The ensuing quiet was total. Marcus fixed on me. Then he chortled. A brief, skeptical yelp. That's not amusing, Sarah. It's no jest, I replied. I unsealed my case and pushed a paper over the table. This is the organizational setup of Blackwell Capital Management. That's my Marcus creator and lead. These are the formation papers from a decade past. Marcus grasped the sheets, his palms quivering a tad. This is no. This is an error. You lack this level of funds. You're an independent artist in Brooklyn. I'm a confidential backer who also pursues independent design tasks. I amended. The design tasks are a pastime. The backing is my real vocation. That's not possible. How would you acquire $340 million? I commenced with $500 a decade ago. Placed wise funds in undervalued tech entities. Recommitted the gains. Exponential increase across 10 years. Richard pushed another paper over the table. These are the funding logs, Marcus. Each deal, each gain, each purchase, all confirmed by our attorneys. Marcus leafed through documents hastily. But you requested me to clarify equities at holiday dinner. You claimed you didn't grasp exponential interest. I fabricated. I replied plainly, I've fabricated for a decade. It was simpler than managing the kin's response. So, you've been covertly wealthy all this period. While we all figured you were scraping by, while you all persisted I was scraping by, I amended. I never claimed I was. You all merely presumed. One director, Patricia Chin from Sterling Ventures, coughed lightly. Mr. Hartley, maybe we ought to concentrate on the current topic. The digital currency funding. Marcus's expression flushed. Don't inform me this concerns that. The crypto extraction setup is a strong chance. 24% expected yearly yields operated by a guy with a phony Stanford credential. I stated, pushing another paper over the table. Our attorneys performed a history review. His identity isn't even authentic. The whole setup is a scam scheme. You were set to send $30 million into a fraud. That's not. I checked him. He had endorsements. Bogus endorsements, Patricia stated. From bogus entities. If you'd conducted appropriate scrutiny. I did conduct scrutiny. Marcus pounded his palm on the table. I've practiced this for 2 decades. I served at Goldman Sachs. I understand evaluating funds. You've led this outfit for half a year, Richard murmured. And during that, you've squandered $47 million on 7 flops. The directors opposed the digital currency transaction, but you dispatched a message to all backers last evening asserting directors' consent. That's deceit, Marcus. The hue left Marcus's expression. I intended to obtain consent. I just required to persuade you all that. You deceived backers. I stated you falsified a director's choice to finalize a transaction you knew was denied. That's investment deceit. If that transfer had proceeded, you'd confront legal accusations. Marcus regarded me as if viewing me anew. You're orchestrating this. You're attempting to undermine me. I'm attempting to preserve the enterprise. Your enterprise, the one you're ruining with careless choices and arrogance-fueled funds. Arrogance-fueled? He chortled sourly. This is ironic from you. You've hoarded hundreds of millions, deceiving the kin, engaging in some twisted ploy. I wasn't engaging in a ploy. I was safeguarding my seclusion and developing a thriving funding path while you all rejected me as incapable. We never rejected you. Marcus maintained my tone steady. Yesterday at your nuptials, you informed your visitors I knew nothing about funds. You've devoted a decade clarifying elementary money ideas to me like I'm a kid. Mom informs folks I tried to operate a venture, but flopped. Dad presents me as the imaginative one with a manner that clarifies I'm the kin let down. That's not. We were merely truthful about what you thought. I concluded, and I permitted you to think it since it was simpler than clarifying that I'd assembled a funding collection valued more than Dad's full pension by age 26. Another director, James Whitmore, indeed, Emma's dad, voiced. Marcus, I believe we must tackle the pressing matter. Miss Hartley, as chief owner, what step do you wish to pursue? Marcus's skull jerked toward James. Hold, you were aware of this? You knew Sarah was the chief owner. I discovered this dawn, James replied cautiously. With everyone else, but you're supporting her. You're all supporting her. Marcus glanced frantically about the table. This is a takeover. You're aiming to snatch my enterprise. It's not your enterprise, I murmured. It's my enterprise. I possess 81% of Decision shares. You possess 12%. The leftover 7% is spread among minor backers. I hold dominant control, Marcus. I always have. He fixed on me, his torso heaving swiftly. So what? You're planning to dismiss me? Assume control as head. You know zilch about operating a risk capital outfit. You're accurate. I assented, which is why I'm not assuming as head. Richard has consented to serve as temporary head while we hunt nationwide for someone with genuine expertise in risk capital oversight. No, Marcus rose suddenly, his seat grating sharply on the ground. No, definitely not. This is my outfit. I constructed this. You suggested the concept. I amended. I financed it, and you've been steering it to ruin for half a year. I won't accept this. I'll contest you. I'll litigate for what? Patricia cut in. Miss Hartley is the chief owner using her lawful privileges. You endorsed agreements that clearly permit head substitution by majority ballot. The directors ballot 7-0 for your ouster. Immediate effect. Marcus scanned each director sequentially. None returned his gaze. James, he uttered desperately, pivoting to his fresh kin-in-law. You can't permit this. We're kin now. James fidgeted awkwardly. Marcus, I'm a responsible director. I bear a lawful duty to operate in the enterprise's optimal concerns, not private ones. The money summaries are alarming. The deceptive backer message is possibly illegal. I lack options. So that's the end. Marcus's tone broke. After all I've accomplished, all I've constructed, my own sibling ruins it all. I'm not ruining anything. I stated I'm preserving it. You're an intelligent fellow, Marcus, but you're unprepared to lead a risk capital outfit. You require additional practice, more modesty, more readiness to heed folks who understand superior to you. Folks like you, he sneered. My younger sibling who resided in a hovel in Brooklyn and couldn't compute online delivery fees. I never resided in a hovel. I resided in a simple flat because I was committing my funds rather than expending on facades, and I intentionally forfeited cash on online delivery fees because it was simpler to let you clarify elementary commerce to me than to disclose that I was overseeing a 9-digit funding collection. Richard rose. Marcus, you possess two choices. You can step down elegantly as head, retain your stakeholding, and shift to a consulting position. Or we can dismiss you for a reason based on the deceptive backer message, which would nullify your stake and possibly subject you to lawful blame. Marcus's device hummed. He checked it, his expression paling further. That's likely Emma inquiring your location, I stated. You're meant to be en route to the Maldives. How am I supposed to? He halted, gulping deeply. How am I supposed to inform her I was dismissed from my own enterprise? By my younger sibling. By the chief owner. I amended, and you can inform her the facts that you aired, that the directors acted to shield the enterprise, and that you'll determine your subsequent moves. She's going to be crushed. Her dad is on this directors. James grimaced but remained quiet. I'll grant you until Tuesday to decide, I stated, collecting my papers. Step down willingly or be dismissed for reason. Those are your choices. Marcus remained rigid, his palms clutching the table's rim. You've orchestrated this from the beginning. You've awaited my flop. No, I replied truthfully. I hoped you'd thrive. I committed $162 million to your outfit because I trusted the idea. But you've demonstrated you're unprepared to lead it. Perhaps one day you will be, but not presently. I rose and proceeded to the entry. Richard and the directors trailed, abandoning Marcus solitary at the front of the vacant meeting table. In the lift, Richard coughed. That was tough. I'm regretful you had to do that to Ken. He's still my sibling, I stated. But the Enterprise's endurance matters more than his pride. What will you pursue now? Board a flight to Tokyo. I have another funding prospect to assess. A machines entity that genuinely possesses a sustainable strategy. And your kin. I pondered that. I'll disclose the facts to them ultimately. When I'm prepared, when they're prepared to accept it. The lift panels parted to the entrance area. By the transparent barriers, I saw the metropolis awakening. Cafes unlocking. Folks strolling pets. The Sunday dawn pace of New York. My device hummed. A message from Marcus. I despise you. I answered, you're furious. I comprehend, but you'll be fine. Another hum. All will learn you ruined me. All will learn I preserved an enterprise you were propelling to collapse. There's a distinction, I extended break. Then, Mom and Dad will never pardon you. I entered, likely not. But I didn't pursue this for their endorsement. I muted my device and stepped into the fall dawn. Behind me, 23 levels up, my sibling was likely still positioned in that meeting space, attempting to fathom how his oblivious younger sibling had surpassed him so thoroughly. The aspect of being undervalued is that folks never anticipate you. And by the moment they do, it's already past the point.